Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Wally Rauda. I'm your host for Biz Talk 96. Could everybody hear me? Could you wave your hands, please? Can everybody hear me? Very good afternoon and welcome. It's slightly overcast and there's just a bit of rain here in Singapore. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Let me remind you that it's a requirement that you have your video camera live feed switched on from the very beginning to the very end of Biz Talk 96. Otherwise, you will not, I repeat, you will not receive a certificate should for any reason your camera get switched off during the session. Your camera must be on. I must be able to see your face clearly, and I don't want to see furniture. I don't want to see black light. I don't want to see gardens. I don't want to see posters. The only reason you'll get a certificate is if your camera is switched on and you're looking at the camera throughout the session. That goes for Jennifer Ecules, okay, and No A House Moo. No certificate unless I can see you on camera. Emily Fan, I need to see you. The black light is no good to me. Find somewhere with light if you want a certificate. Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Biz Talk 96. Is everybody excited? Is everybody ready for another exciting session? Wave your hands to me. Come on. How many of you have a dream of becoming entrepreneurs and becoming millionaires? Put your hands up. Come on, put your hands up if you want to become a millionaire. Only 5 of you want to be millionaires. Is that right? The rest of you don't want to be millionaires. Am I correct? Put your hands up if you want to be a millionaire. Come on, everyone. Very good. Excellent. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to look at what are the reasons or what are the methods you need to adopt in order to be a successful startup or an entrepreneur. Is everybody ready for another exciting Biz Talk? Yes or no? Come on, wave your hands. Okay, let us go to the slides. And I want to share with you a very famous quote from an author by the name of Peter Drucker. Peter Drucker is a very well respected and esteemed trainer and writer in the field of business, and he has written many different publications. But there's one quotation that Peter Drucker stands very famous for amongst the many quotations that I'll share with you today. And let me go to my PowerPoint. One moment. Okay, so Peter Drucker is a very famous author. Can everybody see my PowerPoint? Can you wave your hands if you can see my PowerPoint? So he states that taking into account that the single biggest reason and steps for business startups to succeed are, he has always, based on his research, said that successful entrepreneurs know that the best way to predict the future is to create it. Peter Drucker. Let me ask you what that means. Does that mean to sit around, wait for somebody to come up with an idea and then copy it? Is that what it means? It doesn't, right? It doesn't. So if you're going to sit around and wait for somebody to come up with a new idea and then you decide, oh, this is a great idea, let me copy it, then you'll fail. Many years ago, a lot of people thought, well, coffee is a popular thing. Starbucks is busy, so they open coffee shops. But unfortunately, you're not Starbucks. So if you're going to wait for somebody to create it, you'll fail. You have to create it yourself. Does everybody understand that? Can you wave your hands if you understand that quotation? Peter Drucker is trying to deliver a message. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you don't want to work for someone all your life and earn a salary and be told what time to come to work. You have to start using that brain to come up with an idea that you are convinced will meet the needs of your potential customers. You cannot wait for somebody else to do it, because once somebody else does it, it's no longer your idea and you will fail. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Can you wave your hand if you understand me? Very good. Let me go back to my PowerPoint. One moment, please. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay. The single term startup, ladies and gentlemen, the single term that we use or reference to a startup. Let's go through that and let's understand that so we put Peter's words into perspective. A startup refers to a company in the first stages of its operations. Can anybody tell me of any famous person that is remembered for starting one of the largest companies in the world? Does anybody know who he is? There's one man. He started a company from his parents' garage. He got fired. He then started another company, and that company brought him back to where he originally started. And it is one of the largest companies in the world. Can anybody tell me who that is? Anyone? Put up your hand. Roland, do you know who it is? Roland? Unmute your microphone, Roland. Who am I talking about,
Yes.
Roland?
Yes, I think it's Steve Jobs.
You are right. You are correct, Roland. Do you know where Steve Jobs started? Him and his mate, Steve, started a company in his garage called Apple Inc. He started in the garage of his father's house. And then the company he started fired him. The company he started fired him because they told him that he was not thinking with the right culture. Steve Jobs in history will go down as one of the greatest entrepreneurs that lived up to the 20th century. Today, there's no other entrepreneur that has created anything like Steve Jobs. Don't tell me Amazon. Amazon is nothing special. Amazon is an e-commerce platform. Don't tell me
Plus.
Alibaba. Thank you very much. You're right. You're right. No one has done that. Let's talk about entrepreneurship. Startups are founded by one or more entrepreneurs
Until
who want to develop a product or service which they believe is in demand. Can you tell me, Roland, do you think that Steve Jobs had a vision? Do you think he knew that customers wanted his technology? Are
yes,
you there,
sir.
Roland?
Bec
Right.
yes, sir. He have because I think he have a unique idea and very creative guy.
Well, no one else developed iOS. No one ever thought of the Apple Mac or the Macintosh. BlackBerry were too busy with their analog style phone, which they thought was the smartest phone in the world. But Jobs had it in his head. He had it that he wanted something that would do more than every other phone in the world. He wanted a computer that was smarter and faster and different to every other computer in the world. If it wasn't for Jobs, there would be no iPhone. If it wasn't for Jobs, there would be no iPod. If it wasn't for Jobs, there would be no Apple Macintosh. There would be no MacBook. That's a fact. So we can go to say that what Peter Drucker said academically, successful entrepreneurs know that the best way to predict the future is to create it. Do you think that Jobs created his own future, Roland? Roland, do you think that Jobs created his own future or the future was created for him? What do you think, Roland?
Yes, sir. He's the one created it, sir.
It was his brain, his
Yeah.
intelligence,
Yes.
his ideas.
Yes.
Thank you, Roland. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Okay,
so.
let's
Thank you
go
so
on.
much, sir.
Okay, timing is the number one essence. Timing is the virtuoso of a conductor and his orchestra. If the conductor moves his baton in the wrong way at the wrong time or at the wrong speed, the orchestra will play a different tune of music. All right? So you all know that when a conductor conducts an orchestra, he goes up 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And those strokes of the baton tell the orchestra how fast the tune is being played. So the element of time is the most influential factor in starting a business and making a startup successful. It's not about where, it's essentially about whether you start at the right time in the right climax with the right elements. Okay, let's go on. The second most important factor is the team of people that you have assembled to execute your idea of a startup. If you try to start a startup as a one-man show, you are very limited to what you can achieve, and we'll talk about that later. So, first element is time. Second element is team and execution. Do you think that Steve Jobs could have got to where he was without the team? No. Steve Jobs had a famous saying: find the best in the world, pay them the right salary, but don't tell them how to do their job. Tell them what you want and motivate them. Let them show you what they know best. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. And one great man said, stay hungry. Does anybody know who said that? Can anybody tell me who is famous for these words? Come on, Roland, you can't answer all the questions. Does anybody know who is famous for those words? Come on, wake up, everyone. Even my friend, Mr. Govind, knows. Thank you, Govind. Keep it a secret, Govind. Does anybody know who said that? Come on, wake up. Jocelyn, who said that? Jocelyn, do you know? Jocelyn Timber? Come on, young lady, you've heard me about this before. Open your microphone, Jocelyn. Who said innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower? Stay hungry. Who said that?
I don't know, sir, if I don't know who said that.
Come on, think of it, think of it. What did Roland just say? What was the name that Roland just mentioned?
I heard only in the motivation, sir.
Okay, but what did Roland just say? Who was the guy that started Apple? What was his name?
Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs.
You are right. Steve Jobs said, innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. Am I right, Roland? Am I right, Roland? Very much. And Steve Jobs used to say every day as he walked into his office, Jocelyn, to all the people that worked for him, stay hungry. That was his motivation on a daily basis. You think he was successful, Jocelyn?
Yes, sir.
Would you like to have all the millions that Steve Jobs made?
Yes, sir. Hope so.
Okay, God bless you. You will. Thank you. All right. So Steve Jobs had the words to match his actions. Okay, let's go on. The key factors for success as a startup founder, they are, in principle, very simple. I want you to take note of these and memorize it. Jennifer, Ekaklua, your camera is not showing me your face, Jennifer. And unless you sit in front of the camera and stay in front of the camera, you will get no certificate. You must stay in front of the camera, Jennifer. If you walk away, you're absent. No certificate. Do you understand that, Jennifer? You must sit in front of the camera. Are you there, Jennifer? Jennifer? Okay. Jennifer Ekalu, you must stay in front of the camera. If you do not observe the lesson, there will be no certificate. Sit in front of the camera, okay? You must stay in front of the camera. I can't give you a certificate if you don't learn anything. I'm sorry. You must be on camera. I must see you, okay? Thank you. All right. So the first rule, or the first factor of success, as a starter or a founder is generating and validating good ideas. You must come up with your own ideas. As Mr. Drucker said, don't wait for somebody to create it. You need to create it first. Developing the skill to generate and discard ideas quickly is essential. But a lot of founders make a mistake. Every time they generate an idea, they use it. They are not focused, or they say they are focused. And for them to be focused is every time you generate an idea, you invest money in it. Is that really being focused? I want you to ask yourself. Are you supposed to throw your money into every idea? Or are you supposed to look at an idea and compare it to others? I want you to think about that because I'm going to give you the answer shortly. And how many ideas should you compare it to before you implement it? Jennifer, again, you must show your face on camera if you want a certificate. Thank you. Catherine, Eleo, same goes for you. I must see you on camera, otherwise no certificate. Honey, Mahay, Angeli, your face must be on camera at all times, otherwise no certificate. Michael Lebrel, your face must be on camera. Thank you. So, developing a skill that allows you to come up and be creative, come up with new products and new innovations is the first critical element of a success. It's a startup. And it's the first element of showing your creativity and your ability to lead by coming up with innovative ideas that can make money. People think that staying focused means saying yes to the thing you've got to focus on. Just because somebody tells you, I invested $1,000 selling coffee, you should open a coffee shop so you can make $1,000, doesn't mean you believe it. Because that means you're not thinking as an intelligent person. You're taking focus to its general terminology. Focus on the topic, but it doesn't mean you invest in every word you focus on. By focusing, you're supposed to weigh up the benefits and the non-benefits or the ramifications of every idea that you come up with. That is focus. But many of you don't see that as focus. For many of you, focus is come up with an idea, hurry up, develop it, put it in place. That's not focus. That's being irrational. That's not what it means at all. It means saying no to the 100 of other good ideas there are. It means you have to pick carefully. Learn to say, I'm actually as proud of the things I haven't done or as proud of the things that I didn't do as I have done. Okay? Remember, innovation is saying no to 1,000 things. That's innovation. No one says yes to the first prototype they develop. Steve Jobs did not put the first prototype of the Apple Mac on the market. Let me show you. Let me assure you. They built some 30 prototypes of the Apple Mac before they actually decided the product was ready for manufacture and market. In actual fact, I hear it could be more than 30 prototypes. Okay? So, focus does not mean just to agree. Focus means to actually generate ideas, focus on what you keep and what you put in the filing cabinet for another time. That is focus. In order to develop a product, in order to focus, in order to become an entrepreneur, in order to develop and open a startup, you need to come back to the very basic essentials of what a startup is doing. What is a startup doing, Jocelyn? It's coming up with an idea which they want to implement and make money. Is that right, Jocelyn? Can you wave your hand? Very good. Okay. Very good, Michelle. Very good, Leitao. Very good, Mary Lou. Very good, Muhammad. So, and yes, very good. Excellent, excellent, Flora. So what it means is, in order to be an entrepreneur, in order to start a successful startup, you must go back to the first element you learned in your entrepreneurship class with us, which are the 5 C's of centricity. Can anybody tell me what are the first two elements of being centric when you run a business? What are they? There's two that are very, very important. They're the first two core ingredients of the need to be centric. What are they? Can anybody tell me? Come on, don't be shy. Wait, raise your hands. You all learnt about the centricity elements, the 5 C's. Come on, don't let me ask Mr. Govind. Mr. Govind knows them off by heart. I want to hear from students. Yes, Prashant Sharma, what are the first two elements of being centric? Go ahead, Prashant.
It's being customer centric.
And the second one?
Product centric.
Very good, my friend. Give him a big hand, everybody. He got it right. Everybody give him a big hand. All right. Let's now talk about what that means. The first one, everybody can see my slide, is being product-centric. Can everybody see my slide? Yes or no? Yes or no? Can you see my slide? No? Hold on. Why? Hold on. Let me just get it back for you. Hold on, mate. Okay, here we go. Can everybody see it now? Yes? Okay, so the first one is product-centric. What do we mean by product-centric? Product-centric is putting yourself in your potential customer's shoes and understanding what they want in the product that you plan to manufacture. You need to create the best product. That is part of your strategy. What do you need to create the best product? You need the right people and the right culture. You need the right people who are not just going to copy another product, that have the innovation and creativity to develop new ideas and be the first to create it. You need to have the process relevant to product centricity. You need to have a new product development team, which, remember, we said the team is important when you go to a startup, not only the timing. You need to have reward new product development. So you need to give some sort of motivation to the people that are developing your new product or bringing innovation to your company. And that goes back to what Steve Jobs said. When you get the best brains in the field, reward them well in order for them to give you the best results. Jobs did that. That's why we have the legacy of one of the smartest smart devices ever created, the iPhone. Okay? The BlackBerry could never meet the iPhone. If it wasn't for Jobs implementing his philosophy of getting the best people and rewarding them accordingly, as it said in the rewards metric, there would be no iPhone today. Last but not least, you need to have the right number of divisions in your company actually responsible for new products on a regular basis, and they need to be accountable for their own profit and loss. Does everybody understand the importance of being product-centric? Yes or no? Do you all understand the element of product centricity? Yes or no? Can you wave your hands? Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. So let's go to the next element of centricity. What is the next element that my dear student just mentioned, Mr. Sharma mentioned, that is important to being successful? The next one is what we call customer-centric. Because without a product, you can't serve customers. And without a customer, don't waste your time making the product. Do you understand why they are the two most critical factors? Yes or no? Yes or no? Do you understand that? So without a product, you've got nothing to sell customers. And without customers, you've got nothing or no one to actually generate revenue for your product. Okay? Very simple. So let's look at customer centricity. It's about creating the best solution for the customer. And the only way you can do that is to understand your customer and the way they think. You need to understand their psychology. You need to put yourself in their head or in their shoes. Do we all follow that, ladies and gentlemen? Yes or no? Wave your hands, everyone. Wave your hands, everyone. Thank you. You need to have the right people who understand what the customer wants. They need to understand the experience that each and every customer wants. What do they expect out of the product or the service that you're going to sell them? And the only way you're going to know that is by putting yourself in their mind, in their shoes, and understanding it. Whether it's by research, by product user testing in the market before you launch it, but you need to understand that. Rewards. People with the right insight, people who are able to understand the customer's thinking and help you in developing the right product for the right customer mindset need to be rewarded, just like the people that developed the product that Steve Jobs employed to come up with the iPhone. And last but not least, you need to have customer segments who are responsible for generating a profit on your P&L. All right? So if you have an iWatch, you need to have a P&L, especially for the iWatch. At Apple, iPhones are run by a separate division. iPads are run by a separate division. Mac machines are run by a separate division. And all the other wearable technologies looked after by the people that look after iWatches. Why? It's because each of those divisions is a separate unit responsible for its own P&L. Why? Why do we need to have that? It's so that that unit is accountable for the money they spend and the revenue they generate. Otherwise, they would not take their job seriously. Does everybody understand the element of product and customer centricity? Can you wave your hands for me? Very good. Okay. The understanding of the basic principle of customer and product centricity not only go into manufacture of product, even airlines, when they explore flying to a new country, the first thing they have to do is be product-centric, country-centric. Who wants to go there? Why do people want to go there? And customer-centric. What do customers want to see in that country? And how much are they prepared to spend when they look at price-centric? Does everybody understand how important these two factors are? Can you wave your hands for me, please, everyone? Thank you. All right. So let's go back and let's look at the next PowerPoint. Okay. So the key success factors for startup founders, other than generating new ideas, is achieving product market fit. So putting the right product in the right market. All this relates to being product-centric and customer-centric. You have to understand the product that your customers might want and who your customers are. Product market fit, ladies and gentlemen, describes the degree to which a company has aligned its product offering to what the audience want or need. You can't do that unless you're customer-centric and you're product-centric. PMF is not a static condition. PMF is best thought of as what we call the iterative or the iterative process of adapting to customer needs as they evolve. So when we say it's the iterative, it means it's happening and it changes constantly. Day after day, week after week, as your R&D team are continuously looking for product improvements. Let's look at this. A product and a fit. A product requires features. It requires user acceptability, UX, and it has to offer a value proposition as a product to the customer that you're offering it to. And you need to put it in the right market. Okay, you need to make sure you're customer centric so you know which customers in which market need you. And you only do that when you're centric. You need to understand what these customers or this market needs, why they need it, and who in this market is your target, who can afford your product. This is part of customer centricity. Customer centric. Do you understand that, Roland? Thank you. Do you understand that, Prashant? Thank you. Okay. There are two important things to understand when we talk about product fit. One, product market fit is not a static condition. It should change on a regular basis based on the feedback that you're getting from customers about your product. Two, the bulk of activity within any company is oriented around the refining or building on their product market fit, whether the company describes what it's doing in those terms or not. The only reason Apple is still successful is because Steve Jobs left them with a blueprint for 20 years. After 20 years, and after Jobs was gone, may he rest in peace as one of the greatest entrepreneurs that ever lived, especially in the telco and information systems business. All right? He left them with a blueprint for 20 years. And after he died, at the end of that 20-year blueprint, Apple found its first international recall on its iPhone because the Jobs thinking was no longer in that product. Do you understand that, everyone? Yes or no? Okay. So, remember, product market fit is not about being static. It's an ongoing evolution process. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Wave your hands. Do not let the word fit become misleading. Understand what it means. It sounds like arrival at a destination or a target you achieved at launch. It's better to think of PMS as a process that can continually be refined. Today, this mouse fits the market because everybody likes red. Tomorrow, the color red could be related to blood and people dying due to the inhumane and the unacceptable wars around the world. So red could be a color that people don't buy anymore. Therefore, you need to change your product from red to blue because people do not think that red fits their buying psychology anymore. So fit is a word that describes the product suitability on an ongoing basis, not a static presumption. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Very good. To fit a product into the market, it means aligning the product with consumer needs and demands based on their continuous changes. Without a precise data, product market fit can be a nebulous concept. And what I mean is that it all comes back to you being product-centric and customer-centric. If you're not product-centric, then you don't know what your customers want in a product. If you're not customer-centric, you don't understand why they want your product. So if you cannot get it right as far as PC or customer product centricity, you might as well give up. You will never be successful as an entrepreneur. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Very good. Getting it right requires gathering both quantitative and qualitative information. So keep as many of these indicators as possible working in your favor. We said at the beginning, you need to be very thorough when you look at your customer and put yourself inside your customer's shoes and the product they want. You have to think very carefully, not just say, oh, Starbucks coffee's good, I'll open a coffee chain. That's not going to work. The 4-fit framework comes as follows. The product market fit, the product channel fit as to where you're going to sell it through which channel, the channel model fit, whether the channel you're selling it as has better models from someone else or not, and the model market fit. The product that you have in the market, is it already an old model or a new model? These 4 factors in the framework for product market fit, as we call it, are essential. All right? Do you understand that, everyone? Yes or no? Very good. So let's look at Hotspot. Hotspot is a teleco company, a computer company, software company. So let's look at how they apply the 4 fits into their canvas. Market. The category of the market they're going into is sales. Who? Individual representatives selling their products. The problems are they doesn't know where their prospects stand in the process. The motivation is money, because they don't know who wants the product or where the product fits in their client's hands, but their motivation is money. They keep going after it. That's because they're not market-centric. They don't know their market. They don't know their customer. The product value proposition, you need to know where the product fits and who wants your product and what is, in their opinion, the best product for them. The hook is to see who opens, who clicks on emails, who responds to your marketing, and understanding them and what they want. And all this is about time to value. If they get your product for this company, it's a software or techno product which they have to install, and they want it to work very fast. It's all about retention. Let's go to model. Not only does your product have to fit the right market, but you have to launch a product which is up to date with your competitors' models. And you need to put it in the right product channel. It's no use selling an internet connection through Amazon that takes 7 days to be delivered. When people want a high-speed internet connection, they want it yesterday. Let's look at this. Market, sales. As I said, they don't know their product. They don't know where it fits. They don't know who wants to buy it. They are not customer-centric. They don't know the product well. They are not product-centric. Unless you're customer-centric, which is market-centric, and product-centric, then the product will go into the wrong channel and the model will not meet customer needs and it will fail. Do you understand that, everyone? Yes or no? Very good. Steve Jobs said, I'm convinced that about half of what separates the successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful entrepreneurs is pure perseverance. Does anybody here not agree with that? Can anybody tell me what Steve Jobs meant when he said that? What did he mean when he said that? What did Jobs mean when he spoke about perseverance? Can anyone tell me? Thomas, can you comment on that? Thomas? Hi, Thomas. What did Jobs mean when he spoke about perseverance, Thomas? Are you there, Thomas? No? Okay. Jacob, go ahead, Jacob. What did Steve Jobs mean when he referred to perseverance?
Yeah, perseverance as in the sense that even if you are feeling like giving up, you should just go on, because there are a lot of challenges that comes in, especially in.
Okay, Jacob, can I ask you? You think that Steve Jobs persevered? You think he had what's called perseverance?
Yes, he had that. that he wasn't giving up because he wanted. He knew that he knew what he wanted to achieve at the end of the day.
Thank
That
you
is
very
having
much.
just having the product that was going to stand the test of time, and the product that is standing a test of time at the moment is the same iPhone.
Very good. Thank you very much, Jacob. You are right. Thank you, Jacob. I'll talk to you again shortly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to another person. Who have we got? Yes, Parita. Go ahead, Parita. What are you going to tell me? Hi, Parita.
Hi. Hi, sir.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Good.
Nice to
Good.
see you
Tell
again.
me, do you agree with Steve Jobs and his statement on the word perseverance?
Yes, sir. Actually, I just watched his message when he was invited into a college ceremony, that
Yes.
he says he was being enthusiasm of his job, like when he was like 16 years old. He was a dropout student, and he don't know what is going on to his life, but he pursued his love of doing what he wants, so he never stopped it.
Absolutely. You're right. You're absolutely right. You're right, Parita. And this is something that all of you should learn, because most of you, your lives probably are screwed up and you're trying to become more successful. And you need to let Steve Jobs and his perseverance and motivation motivate you to become business startup millionaires. Thank you, Parita. I really appreciate your input.
Sir.
I'll talk to you shortly. Thank you. Okay, let's go down the list. Okay, Thomas. Hi, Thomas. What have you got to add? Go ahead, Thomas. Hi, Thomas. Are you there, Thomas? Govind, could you let Thomas know? I can't hear him. I'm sorry. Are you there, Thomas? Okay, I'll come back to you. All right. So does everybody understand what we mean by perseverance? Yes or no? Okay. Perseverance is a core psychological thinking state. If you are persevering, it means your mind and your thinking is focused, you're disciplined. Remember, we keep saying that you need to be a positive thinker. To be a positive thinker, you need to be able to manage your thoughts. You need to be disciplined. If you are disciplined, you practice perseverance. Do you understand that, everyone? Yes or no? Let me give you a simple example. And girls, I'm not being funny here. I'm just giving you the simplest example. They say, girls, that there's many fish in the ocean. So if you date a boy for 1 year and you don't like him, do not continue the relationship. Persevere and find a better option. There's many future husbands in the ocean. Do not focus on one only. Do you understand what I mean by perseverance? Yes or no? Yes or no? Come on. All right. And that goes for you men too. If you're going out with a girl and suddenly you find she's cheating on you, don't put up with it. Remember, there's a lot of other beautiful women out there. Move on, persevere, and find another option. Do not ruin your lives. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Sorry, girls, for giving that example. I'm giving both male and female to make it easier. Forgive me. I didn't mean to offend. All right? Okay. Very good. Okay. Govind, did you hear what I just said, Govind? Make sure you take my advice, Govind. All right? Good on you, mate. Okay. Remember, perseverance. Let me go on. Okay. The key factors of success, as we said earlier, is timing. You have to hit the target when the timing, the opening of your business. It's no point putting a product on the market if the market's not ready for it. You have to make sure you strike the market when the iron is hot. If you put yourself out there too early, the market may not be ready and you will fail. If you open the business too late, somebody else may have beat you to market and still render your business dead. Okay? he basically would have stolen your idea and rendered your business dead just when you started because you did not hit the market at the right time. That's why Apple and Samsung keep it very secretive about what their new model has to offer. They don't let it out until probably a couple of days before they release the phone. Because if they let it out 6 months before, Samsung will copy it, and then they've lost market. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Very good. Supportive environment is very important. You need to make sure that you're not only going in at the right time, but the environment surrounding the market you're entering at the time is conducive for your product. Okay, so you don't want to introduce pork into Saudi Arabia while Saudi Arabia is a Muslim country and the only people allowed to consume pork are people with a foreign passport. And the level of pork consumption is so small that your company couldn't survive on just supplying pork to Saudi Arabia. So that would be the wrong environment. You're better off taking your product to another market. Okay? Or wait till Saudi Arabia is no longer a Muslim country, which I doubt will ever happen. All right? Does everybody get that? Yes or no? Very good. By providing access to mentorship, capital, workspace, network support, incubators and accelerators can give startups the resources they need to grow and succeed. So if you want to start your own business, you can do so, providing you have the right capital. If not, you can look for people who are incubators or accelerators. And these are people who invest. They're entrepreneurs who invest in technology or startups. Now, if you can find the right incubator, the right company that's prepared to put money into your idea, they will provide you the resources that you need to make sure that you enter the market at the right time in the right environment. Otherwise, they won't lend you money. Do you all understand what I mean by a market incubator or accelerator? Yes or no? Very good. You need to develop the right character for your brand. You need to develop the right character for your business or your product. Can anybody tell me about two soft drinks that constantly fight with one another? Everybody knows them. One comes in a red can, one comes in a blue can. Who can tell me what they are? Who wants to give me the first one? Okay, what's the first one? Okay, let's talk to Parita again. Yes, Parita, what are the two products?
Pepsi and Coca-Cola.
Can you give me an example of a war they entered a few years ago with a vending machine? Do you know the story?
Oh, 7-Up.
Okay, let me explain the story, but very good example. Coca-Cola and Pepsi are a head-on war round the clock.
Yeah.
They have a war about everything. Drinks they make, Sprite, 7-Up. Pepsi, Coca-Cola. Fanta and Miranda by Pepsi. Everything that Coca-Cola has, Pepsi produces under a different name. Are you aware of that, Parita?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. So Coca-Cola came up with a caffeine-free cola, Pepsi coffee. Coca-Cola came up with sugar-free,
No sugar.
Pepsi coffee. Okay, so they copy each other. They're head-to-head. And the one that brings it out first is the one that catches the market. A few years ago, it was about 15 years ago, Pepsi in India decided to be intelligent. They employed an advertising agency. And they actually came up with this concept to show that school children prefer Pepsi than Coca-Cola. So this schoolboy comes out of the schoolyard and goes to the Pepsi machine to buy a can of drink. But he couldn't put the coin in the coin slot. So what do they do in the commercial? He goes to the Coca-Cola machine. He buys a can of Coke. He takes that can of Coke over to the Pepsi machine and puts it on the floor. Then he puts one foot on top of the Coca-Cola can so he can reach up to buy a can of Pepsi. He buys the can of Pepsi, he takes the can of Pepsi and drinks it and puts the can of Coca-Cola in the rubbish. That was the most aggressive form of marketing Pepsi has ever done to insult Coca-Cola. Did Coca-Cola react? Oh yeah, they reacted. Within weeks, that ad was taken off the air and Coca-Cola introduced a new product. They introduced caramel Coke. You all know about caramel Coke? Coca-Cola comes in an original taste and caramel taste, right? So what did Coca-Cola do to retaliate against India? Pepsi? They came up with caramel Coke. Did Pepsi come up with caramel Coke? No. They still haven't found the caramel Coke. All right? It doesn't work with the Pepsi taste. All right? So do you understand what I mean when we talk about having the right character? Yes or no? Okay? What is the character of the Apple brand? It's innovation. What is the character of the Coca-Cola brand? It's first to market. It's a thirst-quenching drink. Coca-Cola has always said this will quench your thirst. Pepsi have tried to copy that. But it's the Apple character for innovation. The Coca-Cola character that when you drink cold Coke, it will quench your thirst. It's part of the brand character. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? The red can is part of the Coca-Cola brand character. For Pepsi, the blue can is part of the Pepsi character. Does everybody understand that? Put your hands up. Come on! Hands up! Okay, very good. So, the character should be consistent across all the channels you sell your product, and it should be unique to your company. Coca-Cola, red. Pepsi, blue. iPhone, Apple, the simple logo of the apple, and the continuous advertising around innovation rather than price. Apple never promotes a price. It promotes a product and its innovation associated with what people understand about the character of Apple. Apple wants to be known for product innovation, technology. All right, let's go on. Let me just go back and share my screen. Okay, so as I said, developing the right character involves having the people being able to recognize you across all markets in the same way. You have to understand how people perceive you. You have to understand what is important to that brand and the brand character that you put into different markets. It is important that the characters are very good. It's important to avoid generic characters, because if you use something generic, which is copied, people will forget it. They'll disassociate. Coca-Cola is red with the white stroke of the words Coca-Cola, and that has been unique to Coca-Cola since their opening. All right? Look at Campbell's. Campbell's tomato soup. Campbell's tomato sauce. Campbell's have had the same logo and tag since they started. Let's look at some characteristics and brands and show you what I mean. One moment, please. So, the character of the brand all comes down to the brand mascot. How are you going to promote the brand in the market? And what character are you going to associate with the brand? Can somebody stop drawing on my screen now? Mr. Govind, can you find out who it is? And if they continue, can you remove them from the session, please? Thank you. Okay, so number one, do you want to promote yourself as a person or your technology? Do you sell a specific product that's easy to visualize? Do you provide a service that can be associated with an object? Do you provide a service product that can be associated with an animal? Do you need the visual appearance of your mascot to be associated with the values of your brand? All of the answers should be yes, depending on where your product stands. Look at Apple. Apple's branding is they always showed the phone and the product. Always. The phone and the product technology was always the front of their advertising. All right? Did you ever see the face of Steve Jobs? No, not in advertising. In launches, in product launches, yes. Store openings, yes. But advertising was always focused around the iPhone being the product, the mascot. Let's look at these mascots which are famous all over the world. Does everybody know KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken? The same mascot is used all over the world. Why do they have the picture of the face? Because the old man that came up with the recipe for KFC was known as Colonel Sanders. So his picture has carried KFC all over the world till today. KFC sells more Colonel Sanders' original recipe than any of the other chicken they make, whether it's their cheesy chicken in Vietnam, their spicy chicken worldwide, their crispy chicken in India. The Colonel's original recipe, the original KFC, is still the world's market leader for KFC associated with that picture. Mr. Clean is another company that promotes the picture of the clean guy with the bald head and what the company promotes in its business in cleaning. Michelin tires. When they first started, Michelin came up with a character that was a happy character that tried to deliver the message that Michelin can meet your car's tire requirements. That logo is famous all over the world. People associate with tires when they see the Michelin logo. People associate with chicken when they see the KFC logo. People who are after cleaning industry services associate with Mr. Clean if they operate in the country they're in. It's all about meeting the right mascot, the right badge. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? I want to put on this video now, and I want you all to watch it and listen to it. And then when you've finished, we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about why it's important.
I'm really excited to share with you some findings that really surprised me about what makes companies succeed the most, what factors actually matter the most for startup success. I believe that the startup organization is one of the greatest forms to make the world a better place. If you take a group of people with the right equity incentives and organize them in a startup, you can unlock human potential in a way never before possible. You get them to achieve unbelievable things. But if the startup organization is so great, why do so many fail? That's what I wanted to find out. I wanted to find out what actually matters most for startup success. And I wanted to try to be systematic about it, avoid some of my instincts and maybe misperceptions I have from so many companies I've seen over the years. I wanted to know this because I've been starting businesses since I was 12 years old, when I sold candy at the bus stop in junior high school, to high school when I made solar energy devices, to college when I made loudspeakers, and when I graduated from college, started software companies. And 20 years ago, I started Idea Lab, and in the last 20 years, we started more than 100 companies, many successes and many big failures. We learned a lot from those failures. So I tried to look across what factors accounted the most for company success and failure. So I looked at these 5. First, the idea. I used to think that the idea was everything. I mean, I named my company Idea Lab and how much I worship the aha moment when you first come up with the idea. But then over time, I came to think that maybe the team, the execution, adaptability, that mattered even more than the idea. I never thought I'd be quoting boxer Mike Tyson on the TED stage, but he once said, "Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face." And I think that's so true about business as well. So much about a team's execution is its ability to adapt to getting punched in the face by the customer. The customer is the true reality. And that's why I came to think that the team maybe was the most important thing. Then I started looking at the business model. Does the company have a very clear path generating customer revenues? That started rising to the top in my thinking about maybe what mattered most for success. Then I looked at the funding. Sometimes companies received intense amount of funding. Maybe that's the most important thing. And then, of course, the timing. Is the idea way too early and the world's not ready for it? Is it early, meaning you're in advance and you have to educate the world? Is it just right, or is it too late and there's already too many competitors? So I tried to look very carefully at these 5 factors across many companies. And I looked across all 100 Idea Lab companies and 100 non-Idea Lab companies to try and come up with something scientific about it. So first, on these Idea Lab companies, the top 5 companies, CitySearch, Cars Direct, GoTo, NetZero, Tickets.com, those all became billion-dollar successes. And the 5 companies on the bottom, Z.com, Insider Pages, MyLife, Desktop Factory, PeopleLink, we all had high hopes for, but didn't succeed. So I tried to rank across all of those attributes how I felt those companies scored on each of those dimensions. And then for non-Idea Lab companies, I looked at wild successes like Airbnb and Instagram and Uber and YouTube and LinkedIn, and some failures. Webvan, Cosmo, Pets.com, Flues, and Friendster. The bottom companies had intense funding. They even had business models in some cases, but they didn't succeed. I tried to look at what factors actually counted the most for success and failure across all of these companies, and the results really surprised me. The number one thing was timing. Timing accounted for 42% of the difference between success and failure. Team and execution came in second, and the idea, the differentiability of the idea, the unique idea, that actually came in third. Now, this isn't absolutely definitive. It's not to say that the idea isn't important. But it very much surprised me that the idea wasn't the most important thing. Sometimes it mattered more when it was actually timed. The last 2, business model and funding, made sense to me, actually. I think business model makes sense to be that low because you could start out without a business model and then add one later if your customers are demanding what you're creating. And funding, I think as well. If you're underfunded at first, but you're gaining traction, especially in today's age, it's very, very easy to get intense funding. So now let me give you some specific examples about each of these. So take a wild success like Airbnb, everybody knows about. Well, that company was famously passed on by many smart investors because people thought, no one's going to rent out a space in their home to a stranger. Well, of course, people proved that wrong. But one of the reasons it succeeded, aside from a good business model, a good idea, great execution, is the timing. That company came out right during the height of the recession when people really needed extra money. And that maybe helped people overcome their objection to renting out their own home to a stranger. Same thing with Uber. Uber came out, incredible company, incredible business model, great execution too, but the timing was so perfect for their need to get drivers into the system. Drivers were looking for extra money. It was very, very important. Some of our early successes, CitySearch came out when people needed web pages. GoTo.com, which we announced actually at TED in 1998, was when companies were looking for cost-effective ways to get traffic. We thought the idea was so great, but actually the timing was probably maybe more important. And then some of our failures. We started a company called Z.com. It was an online entertainment company. We were so excited about it. We raised enough money. We had a great business model. We'd even signed incredibly great Hollywood talent to join the company. But broadband penetration was too low in 1999, 2000. It was too hard to watch video content online. You had to put codecs in your browser and do all this stuff. And the company eventually went out of business in 2003. Just 2 years later, when the codec problem was solved by Adobe Flash, and when broadband penetration crossed 50% in America, YouTube was perfectly timed. Great idea, but unbelievable timing. And in fact, YouTube didn't even have a business model when it first started. It wasn't even it was certain that that would work out. But that was beautifully, beautifully timed. So what I would say in summary is execution definitely matters a lot. The idea matters a lot. But timing might matter even more. And the best way to really assess timing is to really look whether consumers are really ready for what you have to offer them. And to be really, really honest about it, not be in denial about any results that you see. Because if you have something you love, you want to push it forward. But you have to be very, very honest about that factor on timing. As I said earlier, I think startups can change the world and make the world a better place. I hope some of these insights can maybe help you have a slightly higher success ratio and thus make something great come to the world that wouldn't have happened otherwise. Thank you very much. It's been a great audience.
All right. So did everybody see the video this time? Yes or no? Yes? Okay. Did everybody understand what the video is talking about? What was he talking about? He confirms that time is one of the most critical factors, right? Yes or no? Ideas ideas or innovation and taking the right product to the right market, being product-centric and customer-centric are the second most important elements, and the team that you have to take it. Would you agree with me so far? Yes or no? Yeah? And you notice how funding was at the very bottom of the list, okay? Because as he said, if you have an idea that's accepted, then the wider the acceptance, you will generate funds automatically. Do you understand that, everyone? Yes or no? Yes or no? Very good. Okay, let's go on. As the gentleman in the video said, Airbnb was one of America's greatest companies. Everybody know what Airbnb is? It's a company that was started to allow people to rent other people's homes when they travel or on a holiday. The company acts as a broker and charges a commission from each booking. The company was founded in 2008 by Brian Chesky, Nathan Letchtree, and Joe Gebbia. And what a great idea it was. They were sitting around. They had no idea what they were going into. Okay? Basically, they first moved to San Francisco, California. They couldn't afford to rent their expensive San Francisco apartment. Needing extra money, they rented out their living room, bed, and breakfast style to a few friends who couldn't book a hotel room in the time of an event. So people rented to stay in their apartments so they could pay their apartment's rental. Suddenly, one night, it sparked an idea to create an app that would allow people to book to stay in other people's homes. And that's what brought B&B to existence. Airbnb is now the most popular online vacation room rental platform with over 4 million hosts and over 54 million active customers around the world. So this started with nothing. It started as somebody who rented a room to their friends. That's how the original idea came up. No one else had ever come up with it before. Original. Don't wait for somebody to do it, create it. Airbnb. One of the keys to Airbnb's success was its ability to create a sense of community amongst its users. By allowing people to rent their homes to travelers, they were able to create a more authentic travel experience, and that's why they now have 54 million active customers. Does everybody here know of Airbnb? Has anybody ever used Airbnb? Put your hand up. Anyone? Have you all heard of Airbnb? Yes? Okay, Airbnb is one of the largest booking platforms for accommodation. Okay, Rosalind, have you used Airbnb? Talk to me, Rosalind. Open your microphone. Hi.
Hi, hello. Good afternoon.
Have you used Airbnb?
Yes, lots of time whenever I travel to Hong Kong. So I use Airbnb. It's way cheaper and accommodating.
All right, and you find it a convenient service?
Quite convenient. Yes, it is.
And you think that the people that found it were geniuses? It was like out of nowhere, right?
Truly genius. Yes, it is. I agree.
Right. And that's why it's one of the most successful startups in history. 54 million customers. Would you like to have a business with 54 million customers?
I would love to. Yes, of course.
Good on you. Thanks, Rosalind. Enjoy the lesson. Thank you so much. All right. Anybody else has used Airbnb? Hi, Janine. Have you used Airbnb? Talk to me, Janine.
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Have you used Airbnb?
Hi, sir. Good evening. Sorry, sir. I'm at work.
Okay, all right.
Actually, sir, I don't use Airbnb. I own an Airbnb.
Okay, good. Excellent. Okay. Enjoy your work. I hope you're enjoying today's session. Are you learning anything?
Yes, sir. So I have my own Airbnb.
All right. You have your own Airbnb. Good stuff. And do you actually sell rooms in your Airbnb on Airbnb? Are you on the platform?
So it's for rent, sir. Like they can rent per day, per week, or it depends to the rental. So I have 3 Airbnb.
All right, good on you, good on you. But what you should do, Janine, is maybe put your property on the Airbnb website so you attract more customers. Do you understand what I mean? Good on you. Okay, all right. So let's go on. So Airbnb is one of the world's most successful startups. Now, Apple, of course, is much bigger because Apple has something like 120 million users of their product around the world. Okay, especially in China, where we have over 1 billion in population. There's probably something like 10 million Chinese that use an iPhone. All right, so let's talk about other companies. Okay, so we've looked at Airbnb. Okay, so I want to leave you with some startup ideas. And these are simple startup ideas that anybody can create sitting in your home. You can create an online grocery delivery service or personal shopping service. You can start your own podcast promoting other people's products and getting a commission for sales. You can develop a drop shipping business where you don't have to keep stock in your house. You can create an online language learning app where you can teach people a language for 1 or 2 hours a day and get paid for it. Or you can consider developing a blog where you promote other people's products. All of these are very simple startup ideas that can turn into multi-million dollar ideas. And believe me, the one about a drop shopping business has certainly done that. All right, so let's talk about this. Creating an online grocery delivery service. Grocery delivery is a great business idea to start with. To begin, you only need to have small setup costs, a vehicle and a phone. People call you, you go out, you buy the groceries, shop to order for them, you deliver them, you add your commission, which may be 5 or 10% as stated on your website, and you charge them a service fee. So your groceries plus 10% plus a standard delivery fee of $20. All right, so what this does, it'll provide you customers or your customers with all the products they need. It will save them time, as many people today just don't have the time to shop for what they need. So this is a great self-startup idea, especially if you don't have one in your city. Drop shopping business. This is an idea especially exciting since you don't need to buy inventory. Doing a competitive analysis will allow you to sell higher end products with low shipping costs and obtain good profits. Drop shipping is where you advertise products, people order them from you, but you don't keep the product in stock. Once you receive the order and the payment, you pass it on to another company who then packs the product and ships it to the customer. So you, the seller, the drop shipping seller, you're just a middleman between the customer and the company that makes the product. This drop shipping business has made people billionaires, especially if you start it for products that are not available through drop shipping in your country, or if you can tie up with a supplier who's prepared to give you a lower pricing to sell at compared to other sellers. And that could take you to a multi-million dollar business. It's easy for anyone to set up drop shipping store, but if you don't have the passion about finding new products, you don't have the drive, the fire, and the fuel, your drop shipping business will die. Because in drop shipping, you have to constantly, almost every day, come up with more products for your customers and have agreements with more suppliers. Let's watch this video and let me share this video with you. I want you all to pay attention to how this drop shopping person became a multi-millionaire. Here we go.
$21,500 is the amount of money I was able to make yesterday drop shipping. And in this video, I'm going to be giving you a 5-day action plan on how to start a profitable drop shipping store using the right strategy. Chances are you're fed up of all the content online teaching outdated and saturated strategies that no longer work in 2023. Well, don't worry, I got you covered. Over the last 7 years, I've made over $10 million through drop shipping, and I'm going to be giving you guys the resources you need to get your own business off the ground. So if you do enjoy this content, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Day 1, identify your niche and product. So to start off day 1, we need to set up our foundation. This is what our entire business is going to be built on. So the first thing that I recommend deciding is whether you want to go with a niche store or a one product store. This is going to be an important decision. Now, in my opinion, both of these models are great choices, but there's subtle differences to each. A niche store is a business like Alpha Leap that focuses on selling specific products to a demographic. So in Alpha Leap's example, they're selling workout clothes to people who work out. Now, the opposite of that is a one product store. A one product store is pretty self-explanatory. It means you're only selling one singular product. Now, the benefits of a niche store is you might have a higher average order value and a longer lifetime customer value, but on the other end of the spectrum, one product stores usually have a higher conversion rate, and it's usually easier for beginners to start out. Now, even if you decide to use a niche store, we're going to need to find products to add on to that niche store that are going to be trending, or what we call a winning product in dropshipping. Now, I think this winning product term is quite flawed because you can make any product a winning product, but I'm going to be showing you guys some mechanisms to find products that are doing well right now. So there's 3 main methods that I recommend for beginners getting started. The first method is this tool called Minia, and what I like about this is they're able to pre-populate winning products daily that we can actually check out and see if they're viable products. So I recommend you go through some of the different options they have in here. And then another method that I recommend is Pippi Ads. This tool is really great. It helps us find different viral and trending products that are already going on. And the third method is to go on TikTok and look up hashtag TikTok made me buy it. And here you're going to be able to spot products that are going viral on TikTok. Now, these 3 methods are all great. So what I recommend you do is to create an Excel sheet, put 10 products on a list, and you're going to want to judge them with this very important criteria. Number 1, you want to make sure that your product solves a big problem. For example, this posture corrector solves bad posture. Or number 2, it has a wow factor to a passionate audience. Now, for example, this could be a cool skirt that's going viral on TikTok. Now, it's pretty self-explanatory why you want it to have one of these 2 criteria. It's just going to make your life selling these products so much easier because you have a unique value proposition. Now, the second criteria that I recommend you look at is the markup of the product. I don't recommend you sell any products that have less than a 3 times product price markup. So what does that mean? If you find a product on AliExpress for $10, you want to be able to sell it for $30. And that's at very minimum. If you don't have good margins, then your ability to make profit dropshipping is going to be incredibly difficult. Now, the last recommendation for your product is that it's somewhat small. Having small products is going to be so much easier when we go to scale our brand and actually start making sales. The smaller our product, the cheaper the shipping fees are, and yes, this does matter. Day 2, supplier selection and getting your store set up. Our focus on day 2 is to lock in our supplier and to make sure our store gets prepared to advertise. Now, the fastest and easiest way to get our store off the ground is using the artificial intelligence tool that I designed. How this tool works is super simple. Just go on the first link down in the description. It's going to be completely free. Just enter your email in over here, and you're going to be taken to a page just like this. The first thing you're going to do is choose your color scheme. So I'm going to go with blue, and then all you need to do is click done. And then what you need to do is choose the banners that you want on your website. So you can click a couple of these right here, click done, and then all you need to do is click this green Access Shopify link, and you can sign up for a completely free plan of Shopify. You're going to get 90 days of Shopify for only $1, and after you signed up, just click done, and it's going to take you through this super simple process, and after 12 minutes, you're going to have a high converting theme implemented in your website and ready to go. Now, if you don't want to use our free AI setup, you can also click the link down in the description to sign up with my Shopify link. You're going to get exclusive access to our Shopify partnership that gives you the best price on Shopify that you can get right now. Now, the next thing that we need to decide is the supplier that we want to work with. There's multiple options for suppliers, and it can be pretty daunting as a beginner to decide where we want to source this product. So the most common methods right now are sourcing directly from AliExpress, which is a decent option. Now, the issues with this is you're going to have somewhat slow shipping, and a lot of suppliers can be somewhat unreliable, especially if you have not worked with them before. Now, the alternative to this is a platform like Zendrop, which you can definitely use, and I recommend for some beginners, but by far the best method to go after is using a private agent. Now, unfortunately, private agents are not accessible to everyone. If you want me to connect you with my private agent, you can book a call with our team for a quantum branding application program where we guarantee you a profitable business in 30 days or your money back. Now, it's fine if you choose AliExpress or Zendrop to start off, because what we're going to use these suppliers for is really to gauge our viability of the product we're selling. And after we see that the product has traction and can be advertised profitably, we can always increase our shipping speed with different methods that are out there. Now, just make sure whatever product you found on day one, you can source with the supplier that you decide to choose from. And after you've locked that in, the last thing we need to do for day two is to choose our store name. This is vital. This is going to be the brand name that shows on our website. So let me give you some tips for deciding your store name. If you're doing a niche store, I recommend you come up with a name that relates to your target audience. For example, I have a mouse right here. If I was selling mouses on my website, I could call my brand name mouseworld.com, and that would be very relevant, and when people see that name, they know exactly what they're getting. Now, if you come up with a one product store, I recommend you come up with something super simple and something that describes what your product does and what problem it solves. So for example, I have a microphone here, and just a random name off the top of my head that I would call this product is the Podcast Pro, because people might want to use this microphone for podcasts, and you're relating to that target audience. So whatever brand name you come up with, just make sure that it makes sense and it's not just something random. Day 3, crafting your brand. Today is all about getting our brand foundation set up. This is a vital part to have longevity in our business, and if you do this right, it's going to help accentuate all of your marketing efforts. So the very first thing you're going to want to accomplish today is to design your store logo. Now, by far the easiest way to design a logo for beginners is by using a tool like Canva. The reason I use Canva to design logos, it's free and it's super easy. So you can come over their platform and they have this section called logo. Just click on it, and what I love is that they have all these templates that you can utilize to pick our logo out, and if you need any recommendations, you can type in here different categories. So for example, if you have a kitchen store, they have all these different templates over here, and you can just swap out the name, you can swap out different colors within here, and then all you need to do is click share, and then you want to download this image, and I recommend you download it with a transparent background so it can actually fit on your website properly. Now, one important thing that you're going to want to reference here is your brand color scheme. You want your brand colors to be congruent on your website and on your logo, so I recommend doing some research into color palettes that can match the vibe you're going for. So let me explain. A website like PetSmart.com, they go for this light blue color scheme, and that evokes a feeling of trust since people are buying for their pets. Now you want to figure out what type of feeling you want your brand to evoke. For example, if you have a jewelry store, maybe something like black and yellow would be a good color scheme. Now it depends on what products you're going to be selling, but it's important you knock this out before you get all of your assets created. Branding is a huge component in the success of our dropshipping store, and I always preach congruency. Take for example a brand like Apple. Everything is congruent, and that gives an amazing brand effect when you're looking at any of their assets. You want to create that same potential for your brand. Now, after you've done that, it's time to start adding products into our store. It's super simple to do this. Just go over to your Shopify account and click Add Product, and this is where you can title the product you're going to be selling. I recommend if you're doing a one product store that you name that exact product the name of your brand. So for example, if our brand name was Smart Mouse and we're selling a singular mouse, then you can name that product on Shopify Smart Mouse, and that will create that congruency and that branding effect that I was mentioning earlier. Now, once you added the product to your store, we need to talk about product page design. This is a vital component in order for our store being successful. The product page is essentially our salesman that works 24/7 for our business. So we want to optimize this as much as we can. So I've actually come up with a winning structure that's worked time and time again for my brands. And here's what it looks like. I'm also going to put it down in the description because it's rather complex for some beginners to implement. If you want my team to help implement this for your store, then you can click the link down below and get brand build coaching, where we're actually going to build all these assets out for you. But essentially it's a simple 13-step structure over here. So you're going to want to follow all the components on this, and after you've done that, your store is going to look somewhat similar to this product page. This follows the exact mechanisms that I'm telling you to go after, and as you see, this is a very compelling product page, and this is a very good salesman. You want to make sure you spend the time to do this so you're able to get sales and you're able to get them consistently. Now that you knocked your product page out, we're finished for day 3. Day 4, marketing our business. This is arguably the most vital step when it comes to creating your e-commerce business, because you could have the best product in the world, but if no one's going into your shop and looking at your products, then there's no way you're going to be able to get orders. And this is where I see most beginners get stumped. They build a shop and they wonder why sales aren't coming. And that's where we need to add traffic to our website. Traffic allows our product to be seen, and if our product's able to get eyeballs on it, then it means that we have a potential chance to get customers. So the very first thing that I recommend you do is to come up with a marketing strategy. Now this is going to be highly dependent on multiple variables. The first one is the budget that you're starting out with. If you have relatively low budget right now, then I recommend you start out with an organic approach on TikTok and Instagram Reels. This is super simple. This is where you order your product from the supplier and you use your phone to shoot content of that product, and you post it up on platforms like TikTok and Instagram using viral trends. Now, while this is a good way to get started, it's very inconsistent and you're definitely going to struggle on being able to get consistent and repeatable traffic. So my favorite approach is learning how to buy advertisements on paid media platforms such as Facebook, TikTok, and Google Ads. These are the most popular platforms that I recommend right now, and I even have friends who are crushing it on Snapchat. So that's where you need to decide on what platform resonates most with your ideal customer demographic. And that's where you need to have market research on who's actually going to buy your product. So if you're selling this microphone, for example, then you know you're advertising for creators, but what does that creator look like? Who are they? What does that demographic look like? Are they 40 years old? Are they African American? Are they Caucasian? You need to ask yourself this question, because once you can figure out some of these customer insights, you can make better data-driven decisions on where you want your product to be shown. Now, if you do decide to go with paid ads and you chose your platform, now we need to talk about creatives. Creatives are the advertisement that's going to be shown to a consumer when they're browsing on these social media platforms, and this is one of the other most important components of this business. Your creative is another asset on your sales team, so you want to make sure this creative is the best that it can be, and it showcases the unique selling proposition behind your product. So there's 2 ways I recommend for beginners to get a creative off the ground. Number 1, you can order the product yourself and start filming some content with that product, showcasing the benefits behind what you're selling. Or number 2, you can outsource this to UGC creators. Now, I talked a lot about this in some of my other videos. I'll put a link above if you want to check that out. Now, it might take a few days to get your creative back, but once you've gotten your creative back, it's time to launch ads up. Launching ads is actually super simple. Your success of your ads is literally dependent on the creatives you're using. So I don't care how good the targeting is. In my opinion, your creative is the most important asset within that marketing category. So if you guys want me to make an in-depth video going over targeting on how to actually run Facebook and TikTok ads, you can let me know down in the comments, and I'll definitely come out with a tutorial for you guys soon. But the next step you're going to need to do is to set up your social media accounts. This is a vital part of getting your business off the ground, because when people search you up, you want some legitimacy to your brand. So I recommend creating a Facebook page and an Instagram profile for your business and post some content on those. You definitely don't want your business to look like it was just started last night. So now that you have your marketing strategy and all the components you need to get your brand ready to launch, let's move on to day 5. Day 5, store launch. Well, congratulations guys, you made it to your very last day and you followed all the steps that's required to get a profitable dropshipping brand started. So what do you need to do from here? Number 1, congratulate yourself because this is the official day of your launch and that's a big moment for you. So make sure to do a little bit of celebration, but understand that this is just the beginning of your journey. Even though your business is started, there's so many different components that we need to understand in order to make this a legitimate business. So the first thing you're going to need to understand is the importance of analytics and some key metrics that you're going to be looking at. The first topic I want to talk to you guys about is conversion rate. Conversion rate is a vital part of your business, and this is a metric that identifies how many customers out of 100 end up buying from your website. Now, why this is important, it's a key performance indicator that we can judge the success of our business off of. So for example, the Shopify average conversion rate is about 1.7%. Now in my experience, that's a pretty low conversion rate. So if you have lower than a 2% conversion rate, chances are you need to continue to optimize your product page, your creative, and your entire funnel to make sure that you get the highest ROI. If you don't optimize your conversion rate, you might have a good product, but your funnel's not strong enough in order to convert customers profitably. And this is the more advanced side of e-commerce. This is something you're not going to learn overnight. And that's why I recommend, if you're a beginner and you have budget and just want to start things the right way, that you join our Quantum Branding program. You can sign up for an application. It's taken me over 7 years to understand a lot of these components, and every day I improve upon them. So just understand that this is a growth mindset game, and you need to come in here every day wanting to learn, wanting to educate yourself. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme, but rather this is a business that needs constant tweaking and evolution in order to keep growing. So continue to grow, continue to learn, and let me know if there's anything you...
Okay, all right. So this guy started on the first week. First day he launched, he earned $10,000 US. Right now, he can generate over 5,600, 5.6K orders per day. Do you know how many orders that is? That's how many orders he generates a day, just by doing drop shipping. Did everybody hear the video? Did everybody understand the video? Yes or no? All right. The reason I showed you that video is to show you that going into being a self-startup entrepreneur is real. It can be done. All of you can do it. Do you understand that, everyone? Yes or no? The reason you come to BizTalk is because you want to learn things that you can use. Am I right or wrong? Yes or no? You want to get ideas you can use. All right, let's go back to our PowerPoint presentation. Just one moment, please. Okay, here we go. Okay, so basically, guys,
you want me?
Okay, so basically, guys, clever drop shipping is basically what we call drop shipping, as you just saw, where you run a business, but you don't carry the stock. You're just the middleman between the supplier and the end of the customer who buys it. Okay, so you're the middleman. Supplier, customer, you're in the middle. You could call yourself like Smart Ship Stuff, Drop and Shop Doc, Clever Commodity Co, where you can find things that you want, Brainy Bazaar Boutique, Quick Quarters, Chocoholics Always, or you can call yourself the Sausage Chain, all right? But what do all these names portray? What are all these names trying to develop? They're trying to develop a message, right? What does Chocoholics Always? What is it promoting? What kind of product is it promoting? If I say Chocoholics Always, what kind of product is Chocoholics Always promoting? Rosalind?
Definitely it would be chocolates.
Very good. And it catches eyes to somebody who loves chocolates. A sausage chain. I'm promoting different sausage, probably handmade sausage, your grandmother's recipe. All the names have to be eye-catchy. Do you understand that, everyone? Yes or no? Okay, let's go on. All right, so remember, business branding, as far as you choose your product line, choose a niche that makes you special. Make sure you have a brand identity that's unique. Select a drop shipping service that you're going to use to ship your products. Choose the platform you're going to use for selling, whether it's Shopify or another. Add the products to your shipping store. Showcase your brand identity and continuously market your store. Remember, the start of their entrepreneurial venture was in 1976 when Jobs and Wozniak started a company named Apple Computer. The first headquarters of the company was at Jobs' family garage. Initially, they founded their entrepreneurial venture by Jobs selling his beloved bus and Wozniak selling his scientific calculator. That's how they raised money to get off the ground. Do you believe that? Do you believe that a millionaire like Jobs had to sell his old bus? Do you believe that Wozniak had to sell his university scientific calculator for a few $100s to have money to start the business? Do you believe that? They're multimillionaires now. Do you understand what I mean about the passion, the perseverance that you need in order to start a successful startup? Yes or no? You all understand it? Yes or no? Wave your hands if you understand. Everyone? Very good. Okay. Sorry, let me go on. Okay. The start of their entrepreneurial venture in 1976, okay, named Apple Computer. They sold their, as I said, the bus and the scientific calculator. Let's listen to Jobs and what he said about his entrepreneurial trip to success. Let me just share the video again. I want everybody to listen to Steve Jobs, please.
I was lucky. I found what I loved to do early in life. Woz and I started Apple in my parents' garage when I was 20. We worked hard, and in 10 years, Apple had grown from just the two of us in a garage into a $2 billion company with over 4,000 employees. We just released our finest creation, the Macintosh, a year earlier, and I just turned 30. And then I got fired. How can you get fired from a company you started? What had been the focus of my entire adult life was gone, and it was devastating. I really didn't know what to do for a few months. I felt that I had let the previous generation of entrepreneurs down. I was a very public failure, and I even thought about running away from the valley. But something slowly began to dawn on me. I still loved what I did.
We are going to make it or break it based on whether we can provide products to higher education and services and relationships to higher education that no one else provides. And I think we ought to spend 100% of our time thinking about that. And if we can't do that, then we ought to go broke.
And so I decided to start over. I didn't see it then, but it turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again, less sure about everything. It freed me to enter one of the most creative periods of my life. During the next 5 years, I started a company named Next, another company named Pixar, and fell in love with an amazing woman who would become my wife. I'm pretty sure none of this would have happened if I hadn't been fired from Apple. It was awful tasting medicine, but I guess the patient needed it. Sometimes life's going to hit you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. I'm convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did. You've got to find what you love, and that is as true for work as it is for your lovers. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking, and don't settle. So keep looking, don't settle.
As Steve Jobs said, have heart, have passion, have intuition. Do you understand what that means? Have heart, think with your heart. Whatever decisions you make as an entrepreneur, you have to feel them in your heart. Don't always just agree. Think, and you may have 20 ideas, and only one of them will be the one you move forward with. Have intuition, have passion. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Wave your hands. Okay, great. Okay, so what we've learned today is basically we've learned what the factors that you require in order to be a successful startup. Time, the time that you launch it, the environmental factors that affect your launch, the type of product you launch, the level of creativity, being the first to create it, not to have somebody create it and you copy them. How many of you here have thought of starting a business as copycats? How many of you here have just decided to copy someone else? And what's happened? You failed. Am I right or wrong? Be honest. How many have you tried to copy and failed? Put your hand up. Yeah, I know, okay? I know. Copying never wins. Do you think Steve Jobs copied the Macintosh? There was no such machine ever before. No one had developed a machine the shape of a Macintosh, square like it was. Of course, now it's no longer square. It looks like any other flat screen. All right? But Jobs had the perseverance. He was the creator. He was original. He started from scratch. Does everybody understand what I mean about the factors that you need in order to be successful as an entrepreneur? Yes or no? Yes? Does anybody have any questions about what I taught you today? You know, I tried to choose examples that actually make sense about what I'm saying. I didn't want to be academic and go through Harvard business material. I wanted you to learn the real simple ways of becoming successful startups. And I hope you picked up the points very simply and very quickly. Time, creativity, be first, all right? The right environment, the right team, branding, character. Does everybody understand all these important points? Yes or no? The drop shipping business that you just saw was valued recently at just over $10.6 million. You know that black guy you just saw? He was recently valued. His drop shipping business was valued recently by market reports at $10.6 million. He started with nothing. Do you understand that? He's only been running for 7 years. He's gone from zero to a business worth $10.6 million. And that was a few months ago. It could be worth more now. Do you understand that, everyone? Yes or no? Okay. Desanis, do you have any questions, Desanis? Mr. Desanis, you've been watching me seriously and I haven't heard from you. Desianis, do you have any questions for me? Go ahead, Desianis. Talk to me, sir. Hi, how are you?
I didn't hear my name. Yes, I understand everything. Thank you for this lecture. Thank you very much.
Did you find it helpful, Desianis? Have you learned anything?
Yes, every new information. Yes, much information.
Right.
Yes, thank you.
I look forward to seeing you at a BIS Talk every week. BIS Talk runs on week 1 and week 3 of every month. Next week is leadership. Please join me on a regular basis. Thank you so much, Desianis.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions for me? Jacob, do you have any questions? Jacob? Hi, Jacob. Any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. Since questions that I wanted to ask have been answered in the videos and and it was saying, yeah.
Jacob, have you learned anything today? Do you find it helpful today?
Yes, very helpful. Very helpful. Very
You're
helpful.
welcome, Jacob. I look forward to seeing you at the next Viz Talk. Thank you, Jacob.
No,
So let's
thanks.
go to the next person. Anybody else want to talk to me? Ladies and gentlemen, again, my name is Wally Rowder. Let me share my mobile number and WhatsApp number in case any of you have any questions. Please don't hesitate to actually message me if you have any questions. You can reach me through WhatsApp at +65 822 5220. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, from me, Wally Rowder, here in Singapore, thank you for joining me for Biz Talk 96. Let me thank my co-host, Mr. Govind, for being here today. Where are you, Govind? Are you still with me? Hi, Govind. Thank you for being here, Govind. And Govind, I think some of this stuff is not new to you. You've seen it before, but I think you understand how easy it is to run a business online, providing you learn the online business platform. And I hope that you've all enjoyed it. To Govind, thank you for being my boss and co-host today, Govind. To all of you, I apologize about the problem we had with the first video, and I apologize regarding some shadow that you saw. We will make sure that's fixed with Zoom, and I look forward to seeing you all at Biz Talk 97. If there is a particular subject you'd like us to cover, please drop me a message in WhatsApp. If there's something you'd like to learn, Thomas, you want to learn about environmental laws in Europe or something, tell me what you want to learn, guys, and if it's within my field of expertise, I'll cover it. If not, I'll get one of my colleagues to cover it. From me and my colleague, Mr. Govind, thank you all for being here. God bless you. We love you all. We'll see you all again soon. Good night, everyone. And remember, guys, if you've enjoyed today's session, please go to social media. Give me the thumbs up on Facebook. Give me the thumbs up on Instagram. And if you really like my session, spend 2 minutes and send me a WhatsApp message, please. We'd really like to hear from you. Thank you, everybody. Good night, and God bless you all. Good night. Thank you, Mr. Govind.